This story is one perhaps that you remember all too familiar, for better or for worse, and that has to do with the killing of Tshegofatso Pule. So, Muziwekaya Malebane, who is the man suspected of killing Tshegofatso Pule, he's expected back in court today. Several things had taken place before this moment. We'll give you that update in just a moment, but let me give you a bit more background. The 31-year-old suspect accused of the murder of Tshegofatso Pule, as you've heard, is due back in the Roodepoort Magistrate court today. Our reporter Linda Mnisi has been following this story since it first emerged. She joins us now in our studios in Johannesburg. Linda, it's great to have you amid, I guess, the difficulties we're facing in the news cycle, to say the least. Perhaps let's start with the background. Get us up to speed with what's happened before and what we know.
Well, at this point, we're still at the initial stages of the case. You'll remember that there's been 2 court appearances so far. Muziwekaya Malebane appearing for the first time, saying that, well, he's abandoning bail and would be seeking legal aid. But last week he appeared on the 24th of June, where he made a U-turn, saying, well, I don't want legal aid anymore and I will get my legal representative. But that, of course, sparked outrage amongst activists who were gathering in court to witness the Pule family breaking down, because it seems as though while things are starting to move, there are those little details, or rather delays, in the case. We spoke to the uncle who said that, well, he understands the criminal procedure and every aspect of the case that they need to go through, because this is how the law works. But for these activists, it was a totally different case, because it seemed as though he was delaying the process.
Yeah, and of course you speak about the family. A lot of the story has been around how the family has received these news, because we'd heard Tshegofatso Pule was actually expecting a child in about a month or so. Remind us of some of the more salient sentiments that came from the family. I know you're also at the family home at the day of the burial.
Indeed, I mean, the family is still gutted, and you see through every little detail that comes out of courts and every new development. You would have seen last week they broke down, but they actually described this moment as reliving some of those memories. You'll remember, even in the first time that we spoke to the uncle, he actually said he does not really want to speak about the condition that Tshegofatso was found in, because it's like reliving those memories. So at this particular point, every little development in this case is really reminding them of how Tshegofatso was brutally murdered.
Yeah, and there's obviously a context to this, Linda. We're seeing an uptick in femicides, and perhaps some people argue we're just speaking about it more than we used to. But the president even yesterday reminding us that we're facing 2 pandemics in the country.
Indeed, and you'll remember that just shortly after Tshegofatso's murder, there's been just a series of gender-based violence cases, and there's been reaction to those. I mean, just a couple of days ago, Parliament was debating the issue of gender-based violence, where the Minister of Women, Children and People Living with Disabilities saying, so far since lockdown level 3, there's been about 30 women that have been killed in the country, which really raises serious concerns from Parliament. But there's also been some suggestions from the ACDP. You'll remember Kenneth Musha there saying that the excess of pornography is really fueling this and that it should be banned. The EFF also coming out to say, well, you know, the justice system is idling while Rome is burning. So really those calls for something to be done are slowly escalating more and more.
And I guess the real question at this juncture is, will they finally result in any material change? Linda Mnisi, thank you very much for getting us into the picture so well. Linda Mnisi keeping a close eye on that story for us. The man suspected of killing Tshegofatso Pule expected back in court at the Roodepoort Magistrate court today. And of course, as soon as those proceedings get underway, as always, we'll bring them to you live right here on Newzroom Afrika, channel 405.